Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his own begotten Son, Bahashem, and the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in ancient Paleo Hebrew. The Lashka Kadash will be tongue when I say Barakathon to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a quick sit down lesson of the prophecy updates as of April the 23rd, 2026, on this Thursday afternoon. Through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And you got Nero 47. He's as this is from our time of Israel. Live updates from our time of Israel. Now we got this on and off, back and forth tensions.
Hello, Moto.
Hello.
Hello.
Probably a scam call. Now, back to what I was saying. I had a phone call, Slovakia. Right, so back to what I was saying, this is from the time of Israel as of April 23rd, 2026, current top stories. Now, as we been seeing, back and forth, on and off tensions heating up between the United States and Iran of this Strait of Hormuz in that region over there. Because you got the United States blocking the, with the Navy ships from the United States blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And then Iran, they continue to have tensions against the United States, which they're not going to fully trust them because they had recently haven't made no announcements about any negotiations coming back to the negotiation table because they were supposed to meet each other. I believe it was like that Tuesday, or either yesterday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, because you're supposed to have JD Vance and the negotiators of the United States. They were supposed to sit back at the table to have second round of talks. But Iran was like, no, we're not ready to do no negotiation tables. We don't fully trust y'all yet because y'all cannot be fully trusted. Now, this news article, it was updated 17 minutes ago. It says Trump says clock is ticking for Iran as the third aircraft carrier arrived in the Middle East, which is Western Asia. And that comes within, what was that, last week? That the United States saying they're going to send like an additional 1,000 troops in Navy shields and ships over there in the Strait of Hormuz as tensions are continuing to heat up the battle of Strait of Hormuz between Iran and the United States. So this is what you call wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. It says the U.S. president. It says the U.S. says that the third aircraft carrier has arrived in the Middle East, amending Iran's ceasefire. It said Trump says 26 minutes ago. It said Trump says I have all the time in the world, but Iran doesn't. The clock is ticking. So if he's saying that, that means most likely if the United States and Iran doesn't come to an agreement, if Iran don't make no proposal, basically the most likely scenario, Trump might use some more strikes, nuclear strikes against Iran, and Iran going to do the same thing. So, the battle of Strait of Hormuz is only going to continue to increase. It says, yep, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And then this was a previous news article as well too. It says that Trump says he orders U.S. Navy to shoot an unalive boats mining in the Strait of Hormuz. It says Iran says it won't open the Strait of Hormuz as long as the U.S. blocking ports. Right. So the more the United States keep on blocking the Strait of Hormuz, Iran best believe they're gonna continue to respond back. Right. So Iran is not it's not going to fully open up the Strait of Hormuz unless the United States unblock the Navy ships from blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So that's potentially might affect the global economy. That might affect what these oil prices going up with the inflation, which that report came out in the month of March. And then most likely you had a report of it in this month of April as well too. Hey, so these what you call these oil wars and these nuclear wars between Iran and the United States is going to continue to heat it back up once again. And this is the book of Matthew's, the 24th chapter, and verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what we're seeing. Another nation rising against another nation, Iran versus Iran versus the Israel Defense Force, and Iran versus the United States armies over there in the Middle East, which is up West Asia. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right, we see Russia versus Ukraine. We see North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, United States. So this is what you call uptick of modern day nations are rising up against one another that Yahushua spoke about. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. It says there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, just like those recent earthquakes that we're seeing this past weekend, last week, and this week. So we're going to see more pestilence are increasing, earthquakes, famines, nation against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms, and modern day uptick of wars and rumors of wars. Matthews 24 and verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So all these just the beginning of sorrows. And this is the book of Luke 21. This is the Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 25, and it reads, it says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, right? We're seeing the signs in the sun, the moon, and stars that Yahushua show us. Now we're starting to see that increasing in our world today. It says, in the stars and upon the earth transgressive nations will perplexity rage born, right? So we're seeing the nations are in distress and in perplexity and the siege rage born. What's that something will continue to increase? So I'm going to check out some more news articles. Check out some more prophecy updates. It says that was one day ago. It says Iran reportedly fired on 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And I believe as of today, you had the United States had over there in the Indian Ocean, if I'm not mistaken, they had a siege a tank ship, which I believe is which is by the Iranians, I believe, which is owned by them. Hey, so best believe you still gonna have.
You blow up the bathroom?
Yeah. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Hey, so best believe you still gonna have the Iranians continue to target anybody in these oil tank ships. They're gonna continue to siege it. The United States is doing the same thing as well too. And so this is a battle of Strait for Moose. Who's gonna have full control of the battle for Moose? Is Iran gonna fully control it, or the United States gonna try to use it by military force? So you still gonna have the United States armies blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and then Iran is not gonna fully open up the Strait of Hormuz because the United States blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And so the battle of Strait of Hormuz is only going to continue to increase. So these are oil wars, these are nuclear wars is only going to continue to increase. So this is it says U.S. explain. It says this is from the G0 Media. It says U.S. expands its blockage. Argentina, MLN meeting. Yep, yep. So they continue to block their. Yep, they're gonna continue to block the squirt from Moose. It says this is from the UA Wire. While we see the Russia-Ukraine situation heating up, it says France and Greece discuss arms deal that could send 102 market 200 fighter jets to Ukraine while the Russia-Ukraine situation heating up by the day. It says the U.S. to host new round of Israel-Lebanon talks as ceasefire near expiration. Right, so they're getting close to this ceasefire being expired, and then the tensions might heat back up. You know, it might heat back up once again between Hezbollah and Israel Defense Force, because I believe they are in Washington D.C. right now as we speak. So I think Donald Trump. It was from the Associated Press News. They said they at the White House right now. He gonna join them to have these new second round of talks between Lebanon and Israel. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But in the meantime, you're still gonna have increasing tensions between Hezbollah versus the Israel Defense Force. While you still got Hezbollah still doing that ground operation over there in Lebanon, especially like the deep southern part of Lebanon. It says Trump orders military to shoot an unalive Iranian small boat choking the Strait of Hormuz. Right, so I spoke about that already. So, hey, wars and rumors of wars are definitely heating up. Check out some more news articles. It says U.S. to deploy modular containers carrying payloads of weapons and drones for swarming of mines. Yeah, so hey, so you're gonna see a lot of multiple different things over there in the Strait of Hormuz. So the battle Strait of Hormuz is only going to continue to intensify. It says tensions arise as two ceasefires in the Middle East and Navy ships. Yep, so over there in Western Asia, tensions are still only going to continue to increase. It says peace talks between the U.S. and Iran is at a standstill as Trump extended the ceasefire. So him extending the ceasefire is really it really didn't do much of effect, because Iran is not going to go because Iran is not going to go to the table to do negotiations because they don't fully trust the United States. While the United States can keep on blocking the spread of moves, they best believe those tensions are only going to stir up between both sides. It says Hezbollah disarming deadlock risk a civil war. Analysts say the U.S. prepared for Israel-Lebanon talks. Right, because the Hezbollah, they're not going to disarm their weaponry. So it doesn't matter if Israel and Lebanon having these talks. Hey, the Hezbollah army men, they're not going to disarm their weaponry because they're not going to follow that order. Because they're not going to let their guard down. They're not going to let them weapon down because they don't fully trust the Israel Defense Force because they're going to continue to use airstrikes, which they've been doing after years of peace talks and ceasefire agreements and wars between them. They still don't fully trust them still to this day. And it does make perfect sense when you think about it. Because you're still going to have the Israel Defense Force on their unlawful campaign of airstrikes, killing innocent men, women, and children. What they supposed to be targeting these headquarters over there in Lebanon, but they accidentally killed innocent men, women, and children throughout the years, and still to this day. So, so the Israel Defense Force, Hezbollah, the pro-Iranian groups, they don't fully trust the Israel Defense Force, so they're not gonna disarm their weaponry. So they still gonna rebel, and they still gonna resist. So that tensions between the Israel Defense Force and Hezbollah it's still only gonna continue to increase. It says check out some more news articles. Let's get back to the Associated Press. Today they do some good live updates as well too. Let's get back to the RT.com. Seem like no other updates as of right now with that. So check the other news web source, RT.com. It says Antisgraphic issues a military AI kill switch warning. Yeah, especially with this AI stuff. This military AI stuff is crazy. It says that lets you know this Nero guy is crazy. Trump shares a letter calling India and China a hellhole. Hey, this guy's crazy, man. Nero 47, this guy is crazy. All right, let's see. And this is a news article from April the 23rd, 2026 from RT.com. Last updated April 23rd, 2026, and reads, it says no time frame for ending war. Trump has said the U.S. president has rejected claims that he is rushing to end the conflict ahead of midterm elections. It says the U.S. is not settling any deadline for the conclusion of the war against Iran. Trump has said The remarks contrast with the early claims made shortly after. He's kind of double-minded. He's kind of unstable. One thing he say, one thing he say something, and then another day he say something different, totally different. Hey, what's that scripture says? James 1 and verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Hey, so you got an unstable guy in the White House. Bring up that First Thessalonians. Seem like some more, three more updates. Check out the live updates from Associated Press News. It says air defense. It says air defense in action over Tehran. It says clashes erupt in Israeli Supreme Court hearing. Yeah, uproars a big world because keep this in mind. Throughout the years and recently, you've been having citizens over there in Israel been in an uproar against their current prime minister that they've been protesting against. So that's what you call Luke 21 verse 25. Second Esdras verse 3. There should be seeing earthquakes, uproars of the world, and that's what we're seeing. Luke 21 verse 26. There shall be signs in the sun, moon, stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexing. So the nations are in perplexing and distress. The nations are in the uproar, which is that sun will continue to increase. So I'm gonna read this news article, which was published 8 minutes ago. It says, "This is." But in the meantime, I'm gonna read this news article. It says 30 seconds ago, third aircraft carrier arrived in the Middle East. The air carrier. It says that aircraft carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, is now arriving in U. It says now arriving. The U.S. Central Command, making the ship the third aircraft carrier to present in the Middle East, which is Western Asia, doing a tenacious ceasefire in the Iran war. The Bush is now in the Indian Ocean, according to the social media from the military command. The USS Abraham Lincoln is located in the Indian Sea, and the USS Gerald R. Ford in the Red Sea. It says the Bush is left home port of Norfolk, Virginia. It says at the end of March, proceeded to sail through across the Atlantic Ocean, but then made an unusual choice to turn south and sail around the Horn of Africa before heading north towards the west. North towards the waters of the Middle East. All right, let's check out this update. This is what I was trying to read. This is from Nasir Kamaklami, if I pronounced that right. This was updated 8 minutes ago. It says the Iran's capital Thursday night saw a air defense system in action. As explosions were heard in the western part of the city.
Hello, Moto.
And that's the spirit too, because I thought about that. That caught my attention. Now I think what was that? I think the United States or the Israel Defense Force, they said they denied the report of about a potential of using a strike over there in Iran. That's why it says the Iran capital Thursday night saw air defense systems in action as explosions were heard in the western part of the city. The state media says that more were. It says state media reports the move was against the hostile targets, without any elaboration. It says a witness said the air defense system was also headed southwest of the city. Some Iranian media and says earlier Wednesday that the tests of the systems were in process. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But what was that? Which I spoke about that already. You had Iran. They were saying that they ready to go back to war with Iran. Is the Israel Defense Force is ready to go back to war with Iran? I meant to say. And so these tensions between the Israel Defense Force and the Iran and the pro-Iranian groups, they still going to continue to increase. And this is from 11 a.m. It says, yep, this is from 11 a.m. And this was published by Koral Sadi from the Associated Press News, live updates. It says the Israeli Defense Minister says that Israel is ready to resume war with Iran. It says the Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz said Thursday that Israel is preparing to resume war with Iran. It's awaiting a green light. Hey, they want that green light. It was that Sean Paul song back then. This gave me the light. This gave me the light. Hey, those Israel Defense Force, they ready that green light to go back to war with Iran again. It says, while you have Nero 47 inviting Lebanon and the Israel Defense Force to have more peace talks, hey, you got the Israel Defense Force like, no, we want to go back to war with Lebanon of Hezbollah, and we want to go back to war with Iran. you know, it says the Israeli Defense.
Hello, Moto.
Yeah, it says the Israel. I'm gonna read that again. So nice had to say it twice. Shout out to that brother Malakab. It says Israel Defense Ministries says Israel Cat says Thursday that Israel is preparing to resume war with Iran. Is awaiting a green light from the United States. They wait for that green light from the United States, according to the statement following a security assessment. It says we are waiting for the green light from the United States, adding that the military is ready for both defense and offense operations targeting our marked. Yep. Yep. Matthews, the 24th chapter. Wars and Rumors of Wars. This is Matthews 24, Salakia. Yep. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 7 once again. It says, I'm going to start at verse 6. Yep, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. Yahweh Shai speaking in red letter. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? That's a sign of wars and rumors of wars right there. Yep, Israel Defense Force, Israel Defense Ministry says, hey, we are ready to resume war with Iran. We just want that green light from the United States to resume war once again with Iran. Despite the fact these are talks between Lebanon and Israel. Hey, Israel Defense will say, hey, we want to go back to war once again. Hey, we're waiting for that green light from Benjamin Netanyahu, and we're waiting for that green light from the President of the United States to resume war with Iran. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? Wars and rumors of wars between these armies of nations over there in the Middle East, which is Western Asia. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See, that should be not trouble, for all these things must first come to pass, but it's not yet. Right? It's going to come to pass, but not going to end just yet. Matthew 24, verse 7, then I'll close it out. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which we see it on a daily basis, every second, every minute, every hour, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And what Elder Apostle Tahar says, and he says, you miss an hour, you miss a lot. That is a true statement that Elder Apostle Tahar said. Hey, that is true. Hey, because with these new news updates on a daily basis, hey, every second, every minute, every hour. Hey, so if you miss an hour, hey, best believe you're missing a lot with these news updates. Even though it might be on and off back and forth, but it starts to show forth there, Matthews 24, verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right, so we're going to see nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So with that, I just want to close this out. So this was just a prophecy updates as we continue to see potentially once again the tensions might heat back up between Iran and the United States. Iran versus the Israel Defense Force, the Russia-Ukraine situation heating up. You still got heavy tensions still heating up over there in the Korean Peninsula. North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, and the United States. You still got heavy tensions over there in Sudan and different parts around the world, especially over there in Western Asia. So best believe now you got the United States sent another third aircraft carrier ship over there in the Middle East, the Western Asia, as the battle of Strait of Hormuz continue to heat up once again between Iran and the United States, because you're still going to have the United States Navy, Army blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Iran said we're not going to open up the block of Strait of Hormuz, while the United States keep on blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And so this is a battle of the Strait of Hormuz from both nations, from the United States and Iran. So these are oil wars and these nuclear wars potentially might spark back up once again between Iran and the United States. And so what's that? Revelations 11, verse 14. The second will pass, but the third will come quickly. So these tensions are only going to heat back up between these armies of nations. So these are political wars, economical wars, geopolitical wars, oil wars, trade wars, sanction wars, you name it, in these many different categories, especially the two categories that we're seeing increasing as of right now, as we're speaking. These are oil wars and these nuclear wars heating up between these nations, especially throughout Western Asia. So as I mentioned again, this was just a quick prophecy updates as of April the 23rd, 2026 on this Thursday afternoon. So with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, Balashkadas, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf. Until next time, I would say Kum Yasharala in the Baba Ball in Shalom.